Welcome back to Pile of Mopars. It is Sunday afternoon. We got a beautiful day. It was 21 today and sunny, Celsius of course. I did a bit of work on the whale. I finished up the door panels. I didn't film any of it, kind of boring stuff. And I haven't done anything on Moby Monaco. So I'll just give you a quick overview, and then we got a bit of a different episode today. It's come to that time. I need to dig this out of the corner it's in because I'm going to drive it this year. It's been about 2.5 years since I drove it, so we're going to dig that out, put the proper wheels and tires that are supposed to be on it. I gotta pretty much just assemble the interior, put the seats back in. I've got brand new door panels for it. Just some little stuff. Mechanically, it's good to go. And so I'm just digging it out here. Had to dump the whale outside and move the hoist over, and we're going to wheel this sucker out, and then we'll reorganize and get busy. The Monaco is exactly where I left it the other day. I charged the battery with anticipation of trying to get it started again. I got a buddy, Jerry. He's a mechanic, and he figures that it'll run. Maybe the rings will free up once there's some heat in them. So I gotta put new gaskets on the valve covers, maybe change the oil and switch out the carburetor, and then get it set up to run out of a gas can, and maybe top up the antifreeze, and we'll give it a try. Maybe with some heat cycles it'll fill up, or it'll loosen the rings, and at least I can get it to yard drive and move on its own power, even though there's no brakes. Had to kick the whale out of the shop today, or actually yesterday, but it's nice and sunny out, so it's not gonna hurt it at all. And yeah, so we'll let you know what we got in store for today. So I want to get the red CUDA going. It doesn't need anything mechanical. It's just finished putting the interior back in, the rear valence here around the tips, and just some small miscellaneous stuff. I switched over the tires back onto it. These are Mickey Thompson drag radials, and then TAs on the front with the original rims. I had these on the green Charger. A couple years ago I went racing with the Charger. I wanted a little more traction, so I switched them out, and then I ran the Charger all last year with these tires. I just liked the stance, the way they looked, but I just switched them back. Charger won't be running this year. We're going to stuff that in a sea can, but we're going to get this thing going. I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever introduced this car on the channel. It's been sitting in the corner of the shop here under a car cover as a workbench. We've had everything, all kinds of stuff piled on it, and I just insured it yesterday. I haven't driven it since summer of 21, I think. So at least a couple summers. So we'll get that down. I'm going to move the Charger out, get that down, and we're going to go for a spin and shoot some footage with that. Another filthy, dirty car. When they sit outside for any length of time, they just get filthy, and it's going to stay that way for now because I'm not going to insure it this year. This one, I'm not sure if I'm going to drive it this year or not. I've got the transmission out on the bench, automatic, getting rebuilt, or I'm going to rebuild it. I've never done that before, but I'm going to give it a shot. I've always wanted to learn how, so worst case scenario, I got to pull it out and take it to a professional. Okay, before I lower the hoist, I just thought I'd give you a shot at what these things look like underneath, in case anybody cares. But a 14-inch drive shaft. And a bit of maintenance to do on this. It looks like I got a bit of oil seepage coming out there, so I want to get driving it today because we're going to run out of daylight here. So I'm just going to check all the fluids, check the air pressures on the tires, and go for a burn. If you've ever driven a Viper, they're good therapy. Lots of fun. Here's where the pipes come in for single muffler. Well, I lowered it down. I gave it a quick dust with a duster, and I'm just going to check the oil and stuff. There's the heart of the beast. It's completely stock. I haven't done any modifications to it. It's just as I got it. And you can see it's quite dirty. It needs to be cleaned off under the hood. Once we get going here, I'll tell you the story of how I got it. I bought this back in 2009. So I've had it, well, this November will be 15 years. I bought it off of eBay. It was on the auction there. It was how to buy it now, which seemed quite reasonable. And at the time, the Canadian dollar was virtually at par with the US dollar. This car was down in Los Angeles. It's sold new at Santa Monica Dodge, and I bought it from the original owner. He had he had 4 Vipers, including this one. So this one is a 96 GTS. It's the first year for the coupe. In my opinion, the best looking. I really like the style of them. Anyway, when they came out, they only made, I think it was 1,100. And the only way you could buy one is if you already owned a Viper. They selected who bought them, so this one being the first year was all, that's what happened. Since the guy had one, he bought this one. And he also bought the matching 96 Dodge Pace truck, blue with white stripes. He still had that, and he offered it to me, but I didn't have a use for it, really. I was just after the car. So my wife and I, after we did the deal, my wife and I flew down and drove it back up the west coast all the way to British Columbia. Now this was in November, so there was a few times, we're Northern California, and as we head further north, we were worried about hitting snow and stuff because these fat tires are not designed for any of that. But in the end, it all worked out well, and here we are almost 15 years later. Okay, we'll fire this puppy up and warm it up and get her on the road. These cars, of course it's a 96, so it's 28 years old. They just got such a plain interior, Nothing like today's cars. They're just really, really bland. If you see here, the leather seats and stuff, but the leather feels like vinyl. But it is what it is. It's become a classic now, I guess. I never even thought about how much fuel we got. It's getting low. We might have to run into town and get some fresh fuel. So this has, what is it there? 39,296. That's miles because it's an American car. It had 21 when I bought it. So 31. So I put 18,000 miles in, almost 15 years. I haven't driven it for a couple of years. So, I drive it a bit in the summer when I can. Lots of fun. Okay, out of the shop. I just got to move my work truck out of the way and we'll hit the road. Let's see, listen to this. They actually are quite quiet. They don't sound like much, really. It's the original paint. Starting to show its age. I should get it detailed and waxed and get some scratches buffed and stuff, but for now it still shines.
Okay.
On the road. We're gonna head into Vernon, which is straight ahead there if you can see. Get some fuel. Only got about a quarter tank. Then maybe we'll do some top speed runs or something. Okay, this is a fun section of road here. We like to go fast. Coaster going through the corners.
Yeah.
Hang on. Like I said earlier, I bought this off of eBay, and I bought off the original owner, and his name was Tom Zutot, and turns out he was quite a well-known music producer back in the day, back in the 80s and probably some of the 90s. He discovered and worked with a lot of bands, like one was Guns N' Roses, and he said he used to take Axl Rose to lunch in this car and zip around town. So that's kind of a neat history for the car, being that it's done lots of that kind of stuff. So this being a 96, it was rated for 450 horsepower, 490 foot-pounds of torque, and it did 0 to 60 in 4.2. It did quarter mile in 12.2, and top speed was 186 miles an hour. And a 12.2 quarter mile is pretty quick for sure, but this car is 28 years old, and all the other supercars and just muscle cars have caught up and passed it, and so it's not fast by today's standards, but it still is fun to drive for sure. 112 Canadian dollars, 54.4 liters. Just passing the scale here, so I thought I would see what the car weighs with a full tank of gas. Bit of a lumpy cam. It's at 1550 kgs. Good looking car. Here's the camera woman. So this is an 8-liter V10. That's 488 cubic inch. It's a 6-speed, I think it's a T56, 6-speed manual. 4th gear is 1-to-1, 5th gear is 0.75, 6th gear is 0.50. So you very rarely use 6th gear or even 5th gear because the differential is a 307 ratio, 307 to 1. And the 96s had a bit of a lumpy cam in them. They sound got a nicer idle than the later ones. And up till 99, they used forged pistons, whereas in 2000 they started with hyper-eutectic pistons. Not that it makes any difference on a street car, but forged are stronger for sure. When we were coming back from California, a lot of, mostly highway driving, of course, with the overdrive, I think we got, if I remember, about 22 or 23 miles per gallon. And, that's not bad for this type of car. Well, that was a fun little trip into Vernon, get some fuel. It's been a couple years since I drove this, so I look forward to 6 months of summer fun. Thanks for watching.
Bye for now.